fitness understanding.
Yeah, it's funny because when someone put through that Q&A, when they said, oh, I want advice about, FIFO and training, so many people, like when I said, oh, cool, we got it done, we got the guy, so many people were like so excited to hear the episode. So I'm pretty excited to hear it as well, which is going to be some good fun.
Yeah.
So episode 45 for the Perth Fitfam Podcast. I'm here with my bald brother.
Bald brothers.
And doppelganger, Finley. Formerly from Southern CrossFit extraordinaire,
Give it a rest.
multiple times regionals athlete.
Oh my! One with a team.
Oh, sorry, one with the team. That's all right. I thought I'd big you up, but
No, you're right.
Anyone watching the video, I'm Brendan McCormack. This is Finley Johnson. I know that people are going to mistake the bald guys, the short bald guys.
That's fine.
But we represent. So yeah, man, welcome on. So like I said before, I often put out Q&As about what people want to hear. And someone sent us a message about they wanted to know more about FIFO and how to, how to train and how to balance in your fitness with FIFO. And it worked out really good because I thought of you straight away. And then you sent me a message and I was like, synchronicity. It's just worked out.
The bald heads.
And we put it together. Yeah, within a week. And so we put it together. And I'm interested to hear your journey, really, like, especially in the past 9 to 12 months. You're the best version of yourself that you've ever been. And you recently turned 30 as well. And so it's all these things that you would typically be against you, but somehow you're making them work for you. So without delving into that, that's the stuff that we are going to cover. But first of all, give us a bit of a background of yourself and starting off with the military. I want to hear, hear that. So let's give some...
Funny that.
Let's give people context of who you are as a person.
All right, so originally from New Zealand, Nelson, moved down to Christchurch with the military in 2008 or 9. Spent 5 odd years in there as a armoured vehicle gunner, so operating a big gun on an armoured vehicle.
Yep.
As the title states. While I was there, I was still training quite a lot, so more so bodybuilding style with a lot of pack runs and things like that to keep my fitness up.
That explains why you're so jacked.
Yeah, and am I? And then from there, working through all my combat training and things like that until I deployed over to Afghanistan in 2012.
How long were you there for?
7 months.
Yeah, and that was in combat?
Yeah, combat.
Yep. Okay.
Full combat role. So, yeah, that was a pretty busy trip for us. I was still training over there as well, trying to get a lot of the other boys into training as well. So a lot of body weight stuff in middle of nowhere, making the best of a shitty situation, trying to keep fit.
It's so funny. So we're going to be talking about FIFO later, but you still managed to get fitness done even whilst you were in a combat zone. Yeah.
So lucky enough, one of our camps, which is a combat outpost still, so not really much there, still had a few dumbbells and pull-up bar and things. So you kind of just had to think outside the box and utilise what you had. Like, I didn't know anything about CrossFit at this stage. I just knew that if you moved weights fast and heavy stuff, that you got fit and strong. So it was working, so I kept doing it, and I got a lot of other guys jumping on board with me. So yeah, that's it.
Wicked. So then, how long were you? What were the years that you were away?
So overseas.
Yeah.
Just 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, 2012.
And then when did you start CrossFit?
So end of 2012, I left the army once I got back from overseas. I went back to New Zealand for about a month, and then I moved to Perth. I stumbled across CrossFit online, I think just Facebook, as Facebook was starting to pick up.
Yeah.
More so the game side of things, and I looked at some of the workouts and thought, as a rookie fitness enthusiast, I thought, I can probably do that, and searched CrossFit Perth and found Southern CrossFit, which was just around the corner from me, and ended up working out at Southern CrossFit from there on.
What was your first experience like?
Not that good, actually. Like I think it was death by pull-ups.
Yeah.
With some running and things like that. So no one knows what that is. It's 1 pull-up on the first minute, 2 on the second, 3 on the third, 4 on the fourth, until you can't do any more.
Yeah.
And me being me, rather headstrong, I thought, all right, I'm gonna try and win this. And the other guys were doing butterfly pull-ups and things, and I was just doing strict.
Yeah.
So that's all I knew. I didn't know how to do kipping and butterfly. So.
But you were bodybuilder jacked.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was bodybuilder jacked. I was more focused on being like ripped.
Yes. Okay.
Ripped. And this is when I had hair as well, so I had to. I used to spike,
I remember the days, bro. Used to
spike it up and thought I looked pretty good, but yeah. So I did strict pull-ups, and I think I got to 16 or 17 minutes, which is close to 100 strict pull-ups or something. It's a lot, and went home and couldn't move for days, and that's CrossFit experience for you. Don't do that. Don't do that.
You know what? My first CrossFit experience was at Southern as well.
Yeah, I remember. Was I there? I think I coached.
That was my second.
Oh,
yeah,
was it? Okay.
Oh, yeah, you were actually... So my story is, to give people context about how we know each other. So when Hayden and Jono opened the gym, I worked for Body Science at the time.
Okay, yeah.
And they stopped that, and that was my first session. And then that was probably a couple years before I went back. And I kind of... Same thing as you. I came from that bodybuilding background, but then I stumbled on this Rich Froning, so same thing, the game sort of stuff, and I was like, oh, that kind of looks cool, because I came from the mentality that CrossFit was for skinny endurance athletes that live bad form, and then I was at the Perth Fitness Expo one year, and I saw the CrossFit, and it was Ryan Woodall. I still remember it because you can't miss that.
How can you forget that?
Yeah, and he's such a rig, and he was doing like this workout, and I'm like, oh, he's at CrossFit, and like there's jacked guys. Oh man, I can do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a bad mistake to make, isn't it? To think that.
No man, that was my jam, and I was like, I could do this. So because I knew the boys at Southern, and that was the only
through
CrossFit.
Business,
Through business. That was the only box I knew, and I went, okay, I'm going to go down there. And I thought, okay, I'll do CrossFit down there a few times a week. I live like north of the river in North Beach, by the way, so there's no chance I'm going to train at Willerton. So anyway, I went and did one session, and you were my coach. And we did a pull-up workout too.
Yeah, I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, it was a pull-up workout too, and a box jump sort of workout. And yeah, I can't remember it. Like, it would have been hard because I wouldn't have had the engine. But yeah, there you go. You were my first CrossFit coach for one session once I made the decision that's what I was going to do.
Yeah, it's funny though. You get a lot of that, like, you were my first coach. It's like, oh shit. Like, a lot of people you do remember though, which I find is nice.
Yeah.
Like, you can smile and say, I feel like I did something for you because they're still here.
That's
like,
right.
You know, or still working out at least.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So then how long did it take from you started working out to you started coaching? Because that's what you used to do prior to FIFO.
Yeah. Good question. So I started working out there and approached Hayden and Jono about coaching, and they opened their arms to me straight away and said, all right, you've got to do 3 months of, I suppose, probation though. We've got to, you've got to coach us as coaches before you're allowed to take a class by yourself. So they put a lot of time and effort into their coaches to make their coaches the best at the time they were. And it was just the way they did things. That's when Jason Walker was still there, and they kind of put you through your paces before you're even allowed to coach to make sure that their gym was coached properly.
Wicked.
And had the best possible coaches that they could. So that was 3 months after starting CrossFit, which was pretty cool, I found.
Yeah.
I was still... couldn't double under and things like that, like more of the high skill movements, but my general strength had already been there, so body weight movements were there, and my Olympic weightlifting movements were coming along. Like, it was still a big learning process for me as a coach and I suppose athlete, you'd call it.
Yep. And then so like you were when you mentioned that you're out of the military, you were inspiring people to do fitness whilst you're there.
Yeah.
Was it just something that was like in you? Like, what makes you love it so much?
Oh man, it's a hard question to answer.
What did you do beforehand that like really that's what drives you to do fitness?
But
before the army, like just to be so like, hey, this is no matter what, this is what I'm gonna do.
Like I don't know how to really answer that question because that's kind of happened over time, and it's kind of grown as I've got older over previous experiences. But I think how it first started was I played rugby like all New Zealand guys do.
Yeah.
Or most New Zealand guys, I say.
Yeah.
And
I was at Bledisloe a couple of weeks ago.
Aussie won. It's 36-0 last week to New Zealand, so it's 1-1. Anyhow,
Sorry.
So I was you get that. I was never really the best rugby player. All my mates used to always give me a bit of shit about being a bit uncoordinated. I suppose just typical white boy syndrome.
Yeah.
So I always had that drive to be better, to keep up with them. So I think that's where I think it started. Mm-hmm. And then from there, obviously just it's growing on that over the years, and then some personal previous experiences. I'm pretty big on like when you lose someone close to you or something like that, you use that rather than getting upset about it. You try and use that as a driving force to keep you moving forward.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how my mind operates.
Yep.
I don't know, some people can say it can be a little bit cold, but I kind of prefer to use it as a driving force rather than something to pull me down.
I don't know if that's cold.
I don't know. Maybe that's just what I think.
I think it's just like, it's almost like strong-willed, if anything.
Yeah.
Like you're going to make an opportunity out of a situation where most people would probably buckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just kind of the way. I think that's what's helped me be able to have fitness as such a hobby for a long time.
And then how, like, whilst it wasn't a hobby, whilst it was a career, how long were you coaching for?
Well, I'm still coaching now, but so full-time for 2014. About 3 years full-time, and like till now.
Okay.
Casual, I suppose, and a little bit more of individual stuff now as well to help people that I think deserve to be helped out.
Your exclusive crew.
But yeah.
Shout out to Nina Kov. So then I guess my question, which I was interested to know, because being previously at like such a prominent box, being one of the key coaches there, being a regionals athlete yourself, where if that's what you do, I had this conversation the other day, is that most top athletes, they either own a gym, they're coaches, and fitness consumes their mind 24/7. What made you make the decision that was no longer going to be your career and that you needed to go into FIFO?
Yeah. So for me, that was never really like my goal was to be the best CrossFitter or anything like that. Like you said before, like why do you love it so much? I just genuinely love doing it.
Yeah.
I love working out. I love, I suppose, getting hurt, beaten up in the workout and coming out fitter and with a stronger head. But yeah, to answer your question about going into FIFO, it was more the understanding that, like, for me to progress forward with my family and for monetary reasons was I couldn't coach anymore. Like, we wanted a house in the hills and we wanted all these other things, and the only way to do it was for me to move into a different role. And at the time, I think FIFO for me was the viable option. Like, I didn't really have much of other choice. Like, leaving the military, you don't really come out with anything but experience, life experience. Yeah. So it was like kind of, all right, I've got to start from the bottom and work my way up, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Well, not the bottom now, but yeah, worked my way up a bit more. And to put that into context as well, so you're about to be a dad too. It should be interesting.
Yeah, and so obviously that's the stresses. The stresses added on there too.
Yeah.
So then, what was the shift like going from coaching full time to then becoming jumping into FIFO, because you'd never done it before? What do you do there, by the way?
So I'm an underground driller.
Yep.
So I work underground, as the title states, and I operate this big drill rig that drills into the surface of the earth and pulls out like rock, and then the geologists analyse that rock and check if there's any gold or mineral in there that then they can continue to mine for. So yeah, it's it can be a pretty physical job as well, which is why I chose to do it, because I thought, I'll be right, this will be all good. But yeah, it is very physical, and I feel very sorry for the guys that have no physical fitness whatsoever. Yeah. For me it wasn't so bad, but I know a lot of other guys that they're like, whoa, this is intense.
Well, then going back to the question, so what was the transition like? So coaching full time, fitness being your life, to then starting working on a FIFO roster. So how did that change your life, first of all? And I'm going to ask you some other follow-up questions.
Yeah, that's cool. The biggest thing it changed for me was I had to come to grips that I wasn't going to be able to train as much. Okay. And that was a little bit hard.
How often were you training?
I only ever really trained like 2 hours a day.
Okay.
5 days a week, so not as much as a lot of other people.
No, you weren't doing like double day
sessions. No, I've never done
cool.
double days. I work better as do it all at once and just keep rolling through. Yeah, that was hard to come to grips with, and obviously being away from home, like everyone says when they're FIFO, like I was on a 2-1 roster to start with, and I think because I was so driven at the time to get where I wanted out of that 2-1 roster, I wasn't too worried. But for obviously myself and my wife, it was something that we had to get used to, and that was obviously hard as well. So yeah, but we knew what the end goal was or what the end goals are, so it kind of made things a little bit easier.
What's your roster at the moment?
2 on, 2 off.
Is that like awesome?
Oh man, I'd never go back to 2 and 1.
Like
2 on, 2 off is like the dream.
You work 6 months a year?
Yeah, and you can take some annual leave in that as well. So
really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe sign me up to some.
Oh, you say that, but when the thing is, you're off for 2 weeks, so it gives you like 2 weeks to think about not wanting to go back, and then when you're back there, you're like, oh, I want that 2 weeks off again. So it's like,
I don't think I'd survive, man. I'm gonna be honest. Hey?
Nah, it's still pretty tough. Like,
yeah,
like people on 2 and 1 or 4 and 1s will be like, oh, 2 and 2 is easy, but it is easier than those two, and I'll give those guys and girls credit that those 4 and 1s and 2 and 1s, they are harder. But I've done 2 and 1s as well. I've been there. I know what it's like. Yeah. So I can help those people out as well, hopefully, with this podcast.
So I know that you did the Open Up podcast with Lockie, and I've been a guest on there before. I actually listened to your full podcast, obviously because I know you, and I just found it interesting, but I can't remember the finite details of it. Now, you're a really strong-minded sort of person, but obviously when I think FIFO, I think that guys go for cash and there's a lot of depression and a lot of unhappiness. Yep. So how do you deal with that, and how have you found it? Yeah, that's a really good point. So I think, the cash is the main reason people go. Like, you'd be stupid to say, like, why would you leave home for any other reason? Unless you just love
unless you
drilling,
love being away from your family and your friends, you know? Like, the depression side of things, like, I think you need to have a full understanding of why you're there, first of all. Mm-hmm. Like, if it's monetary, it's monetary. If it's for self-progression, it's self-progression. But I also think you need to, like, understand that you will have days that are bad, and you need to have a plan or a way in place to counter those days. Mm-hmm. Like, and to be able to either, meditate, listen to music, switch off, go to the gym to counter that. Because if you choose things like going to the bar and drinking, it's just going to like multiply those negative thoughts and depression, like, every time. Like, I see it all the time from guys.
Yeah.
You know, the first question if someone's down and out is like, do you go to the bar every night? And they're like, yeah, because I had a shit day. And I'm like, well, man, like, I've had my fair few drinks in my time. I know what that does to my brain.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
You know what I mean?
I concur.
Yeah, like, far out. Like, it's not good.
Yeah.
Like, everything just goes tenfold worse.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So what are the things that, like you mentioned meditation and training, what are the things that you do personally?
Obviously training's a big one. I don't really meditate or anything like that, but I try my best to switch off social media and things when I've finished with the gym more so, and once I've done with my day. Just one, like, for me, there's nothing really on there that benefits me while I'm at work.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's out training in their nice comfy gyms, and I'm up here trying to use whatever I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to your question. Like, yeah, for me, it's really just focusing on my eating. I eat well. I drink enough water. Mm-hmm. I try and get enough sleep. And I keep my stress levels, or try and keep my stress levels, especially related to work, as low as possible. Anything that's out of my control, I try not to let affect me.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really big one that a lot of people need to learn to do.
Yeah. Even like talking about switching off social media. So you shot me a message the other night and we were teeing this up, and I sent them one back. I'm like, hey, bro, I'll get back to you tomorrow. Technology's off.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's funny because I don't think people understand. I actually do that. Yeah. Is like, I just stop replying to people at a certain time because I'm like, why would I try and get stuff done now and wire my brain?
I think the question is like, would I really be making a phone call to this person right now at 9 o'clock at night to discuss this?
Yeah.
It's the only reason I'm doing it is because it's so much easier to just
that's
tap away at my phone. And
you got to do it, man. You've got to switch off, hey?
Yeah, hard to do though.
Yeah, I think for us, like, it's a decision that that we made, and we just like chuck on some comedy, just something which is not work, and you got to chill out. Now, I mentioned it at the start. So you turned 30 this year.
I did.
Yeah.
It's August now, right? So 2 months ago.
2 months ago. So the big 30.
32 months.
And you've been doing FIFO for 9 months, is it?
No, I've been doing FIFO for almost 3 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It'll be 3 years at the end of the year.
Are you?
Yeah, so I started.
I didn't realise, because I remember when you stopped, and it literally feels like a year or less ago.
I've been FIFOing now for since 2000 and, what are we in? 19. Since the start of 2017. So it'll be 3 years at the end of the year.
Wow.
It's been over 2.5.
That blows my mind, hey.
When you said 9 months before, I was like, Are you talking to the right person?
No, that's bizarre. Honestly, because I remember seeing like all the posts, and obviously because I knew that you were coaching, you were coaching at Southern, and you were coaching here a bit, and then
I just haven't been so open about my training.
Yeah,
Well, I've been at FIFO mainly because it was when I was running.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because that's like boring.
Yeah.
I like to put up a social media picture of me running on the treadmill for 10k. Yeah, like, it's a lot more exciting putting up a barbell movement. Like,
yeah, it's very true.
And it relates to a lot more of the people I socialise with.
Before I was actually going to ask you a question about your training, how you do it, and like your improvements. But like me, you've done things outside of CrossFit, like big achievements that you want to do. So the one that we'll touch on, just because you mentioned running, so you also prep for a 100-kilometre race as well. And so now I know that you were FIFO when that was all happening.
A lot of people don't realise that either, so they just thought, he's going to try and do 100k. But yeah, it was FIFO as well, on a 2-on-1 roster at the time.
Okay.
And for 6 months of it, and the second 6 months or coming up to a year as on a 2-and-2, so a little bit more flexible.
And you were injured because you were going to do it, and then you were injured before one of the events, and you had to retrain for it, right? Yeah, so
it was very, very frustrating. So I'd spent, I think I had 8 months or something to train for the Light Horse Ultra, which is 100k around a 2.5k loop.
Okay, yep.
So like
that's a lot of loops.
Yeah, it's a lot of loops. So I had been training on that track for 8 months, I suppose, when I was back. I'd done a couple of marathons on it, and just in the morning and things, just out of the blue, just to see how it felt. And I was feeling really good. And I went to work, and midway through my swing, I dropped a drill rod, which was about 25 kilos, onto the end of my finger, which is obviously not a very good place to drop it, especially if it's on a sharp corner of another metal object, and literally ripped my whole nail bed out and bent the bone in my finger over. So yeah, I went up to hospital and was in Darwin for surgery, and I was up there for 4 days with an open bone fracture in my finger and a lot of pain, and so that happened on the Wednesday, and the run was 9 days later.
Yep.
So as much as I wanted to do it, because I went on workers' comp and had my whole hand bandaged up, like if I had done it, I probably would have got my finger infected.
Yeah.
I would have been in a lot of pain, which I wasn't too worried about, but it was more the fact that if I'd done it and work had found out, I would have had no job.
Oh, yeah.
So workers' comp, and then you're going to go run 100k, like as much as I wanted to, I had to pull the pin on it, so that was pretty devastating. Especially with all the training that I'd done at work for it on the treadmill, like it really hurt. And then knowing I had to do it again, and set a new date for a new race.
Yeah.
That was pretty shit.
So now going into your training, so people want to know like how to juggle FIFO and training and how to get results. Okay. So the key point which I wanted to, where I started talking about you being 30, and I've known you for...
Gee, I feel like I'm 21, does that make...
Yeah, oh man, I feel like I'm 23. I think once I turned 23...
Yeah, maybe 23. 21 was like pretty loose.
Yeah, same. And I feel like once I turned 23, I just hadn't aged since then. So you're probably the best version of yourself athletically now. Like when I see you in competition, physically how you look, like where you're placing. Yeah. But your FIFO, you're about to be a dad.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty. I say this is weird. Like I don't know how this happens.
Well, what was the mental switch? Like how did you progress so much to now you're doing FIFO, you have all these things going on, but you've become the best version of yourself?
Whoa.
This is the soundbite, bro. This is where you drop the knowledge bombs. What happened?
CrossFit-wise, I think taking a break from CrossFit was one of the best things I ever did.
Yep.
And I think a lot of other aspiring CrossFit athletes, especially that have been in the game for a long time, may need to do it. Like, I was never at that top level, but I was training like I was, and I think that was having a huge effect on my body and my mind, not in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, not in a good way. Like, all I cared about was getting better. I didn't care about anything else. Now, I've come back with an attitude that's more along the lines of, okay, yeah, I care about getting better, but for myself, for my family, and for people I coach. Yeah. Because they're ultimately the ones that, I suppose, look up to me. Yeah. And that's what, I suppose, makes me tick. Yeah. Like, I think that's the different mindset I have now.
It's more that legacy mindset.
Oh man, and I think that's come with age and maturity as well. I don't think I actually got that until I was maybe like 28 or 29. So I don't know. I'm a bit of a late bloomer as it is. Like I was always one of the smaller rugby players and things, and like it took me till I was like 19, 20 to be any good.
Yeah.
Or maybe 18, 19, 20, or the other guys were good from 14.
Yep.
And I find the same thing's kind of happening in CrossFit as well. Like, it's taken me a little bit longer to pick up. I suppose it's just learning as well.
I wasn't 30 until I had that like self-awareness.
Oh, man.
And it was almost like a switch overnight. I tell Shell, for my 30th, me and my family went to Fiji, and we had a couple of weeks just together, and I didn't think about anything else. And I had nothing on my mind except just to be able to spend time with my own thoughts and like just really kind of, it's a key point in your life. And I just really got to think about like who I was, who I wanted to become, strengths, weaknesses, everything. And it's like I came back, it was like a baptism, and I came back a different person.
Yeah.
So that was one key point. But even like, so I'm 34 and I'm only starting to like hit things now.
Yeah, I feel like you're peaking now. Like,
yeah. Or even like it's just sort of begun.
Yeah.
Because I spent so many years where I'd look at like the top athletes and I'll be like, no, I'll just do media and I'll let these guys do their thing.
I think that's part of it as well. Like, I think before you get that education, I suppose you'll call it, you are there looking at everyone else, looking at what everyone else is doing. You don't actually start worrying about yourself until you start not worrying about what everyone thinks.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, you'd probably agree with me. Once you
do it
start,
for yourself.
Yeah, you just start doing it for yourself, and then everything becomes a whole lot easier. And the end result, it's always, you want it to be good, but if it's bad, it's not so bad. So there's a lot of other big things out there that are more important.
We're talking about the race, like anything, like for me, when I did the 24-hour race, I didn't care what anyone else was doing. I just had my goal, and it turned out to be really beneficial to me, because no matter what, I would have done that.
Yeah.
And the sense of achievement and happiness, because it was a goal that I wanted to achieve for myself, not for anyone else.
And I suppose that's all that there also relates to FIFO. Like, that's why I do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I can keep training.
Yep.
Because that's my whole mindset. Like, I don't really care too much that I can only get 45 minutes to an hour in a day.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm still obviously benefiting from it, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like, and if people are getting motivated from what I'm doing, then that's a bonus. And I suppose I like being the different person as well. The one that, not so much the underdog, but the one that goes out and does something a bit different, a bit out there, and makes a change. I think it's pretty cool.
Are you happier now with your training than what you were when you were training 24, like when that was your whole thing?
I think I'm enjoying it more.
Yeah.
Like,
that was probably a better way. Like, do you enjoy it more?
Yeah, I think I do enjoy it more. I think I have more of an understanding of myself as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's, and more belief in myself.
Yep.
That's just from previous training experiences, I suppose.
Yep. And
the fact that there are other people up and coming as well that I can help, it's cool.
So from I guess from a technical point of view, or like something that people can take away that are doing FIFO, that struggle training, what do you put in place, or what's some advice that you would give to actually stay consistent with what you're doing? Because I don't know what it's like to work away. I don't know what it feels like at the end of a 12-hour day, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think the life you live while you're working away needs to be somewhat similar to what you live when you're home.
Okay.
I know a lot of guys go up there and it's like their recovery week when they go to work, because they have such big breaks drinking.
When they come
here?
Yeah,
and so they're like, all right, I'm going to go up. It's my recovery week. I'm just going to train all the time. But then they come back to Perth or whatever, and they go out or whatever for 5 days or 7 days or whatever, and
just ruin themselves.
And then they go back. Yeah, go back and go to the gym, and then wonder why the results aren't there, or why they're feeling down and out about it. And I think that's a really big thing a lot of people don't realise. It's not so much what you're doing up there, it's what you're doing when you're back as well. I think that's huge. Like, of course, like, it's if you're doing something like you're working 66% of the year and then you're back for 33%, like, and you're having a negative effect on your body in that 33%, of course that's going to make a huge toll on that time that you're up there, regardless of how much training you're doing while you're at work. Like, mentally, physically, like, imagine that if, like, you trained 4 days a week and then for the other 3 you just writ yourself off, like, even at home. Like, it's the same thing.
That's so bizarre, because I like even how you said it, like live your life there how you would here. Yeah. Like, you've got 2 different lives.
You do, yeah.
That's bizarre. That's a weird concept.
Yeah, everyone that's done FIFO will somewhat agree with me that you have 2 different lives. You have work life and then you have home life. If you can try and make your home life, or your work life, I suppose, as similar to your home life as you can, it will make your job out there so much easier. Well, it does for me anyway. I find it does. Yeah. And there's a few ways I go about doing that, and that's, first of all, getting in a routine. whether it's getting up in the morning, going to the gym first thing, whether it's going to the gym after work, whether it's like turning your social media off, drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, like all of those little things all add up to make your life a lot easier. And I think so many people just focus on one thing, like going to the gym, and they're like, all right, this will be better, make me feel better about being away. But all the other things don't align, so they'll go to the gym, but they'll also go to the bar for 5-6 beers.
Yep.
And that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
I do it just fine, because if you said that you wake up at 3:45, so 3:45.
Yeah, that's, yep.
Yeah, work a 12-hour shift, then go train.
Yeah.
I couldn't comprehend training, going to have drinks, and then trying to let your body recover.
Yeah.
Especially with the alcohol when you're not going to be sleeping well as well.
Yeah, so a lot of the time I think some guys will train one day and then drink the other, so it's not really train then go and drink. It's more like, okay, one day we'll go to the gym and then the next day we'll drink. Or and each to their own. Anyone can, I'm not going to say that's right or wrong, but if you're wanting to feel good mentally and physically, like which everyone does, and if you don't, then you're lying.
Yes.
Because everyone likes to feel good.
Yeah,
like, I think so.
It's pretty basic.
It's pretty basic. Like, make those little changes, those little 1%ers, because they do all add up, and the more you can get them in line, the easier your time will be away. Like, don't get me wrong, I have shit times when I'm away. Like, start of the swing was a perfect example. It's just bad days, but I made sure that my routine was still in place, like eating, going to the gym, and that's kind of what gets you through.
Yes.
And yeah, like I said before, like you got to remember why you're up there as well. Like, you made the choice to go. No one else made you go.
Yeah. That's a very valid point. So for you, I guess, like, to wrap it up, to understand from your point of view, has it been beneficial? Like, are you happy with the decision that you made being FIFO?
For now, yes. I'm not going to do it forever.
Yep.
There's no way. Training-wise, I think it's been somewhat beneficial.
Miraculously, it actually has.
It's weird. Hey? Oh, man. Fuck. So it comes down to, I think, like a couple of things. Having that big rest from CrossFit, which is what FIFO caused me to do, I think, because I just went running for ages and maybe gave my body a rest. And two, it forces me to do less when I'm away. So when I'm back home, I'll train really, really hard for that 2 weeks that I'm back. And then when I go to work, I'm forced to train because I don't have the time. For 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah. And that's it. And I've got to make the most of that time, and it's always less than what I do here. Yeah. So whether my body adapts better to that kind of schedule, 2 weeks of hard training, 2 weeks of lighter training. Yeah. Well, so be it. It's obviously working okay. I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I reckon that's wicked, man. I think it's like, for me, seeing a guy who I've known for so long, all of a sudden hit their 30s, progress, while still in FIFO, whilst about to be a dad, it's pretty mind-blowing. It's pretty awesome. So, I think you should be really proud.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud. I don't know. I don't really like to blow myself up.
Like, shut up, Brendo.
Yeah.
Don't want a compliment. Nah, man, I reckon that's wicked. So you do some coaching for people, but it's not like your main jam. There's going to be FIFO people that want to speak to you. I guarantee that. What do you do as far as coaching? Do you do anything online, or is it just a handful of people? Do you want me to flick people to you? Or what do we want to do?
To be honest, I've got way too much on my plate to be coaching anyone, really. Anyone else. Like, a lot of my time goes into a couple of special individuals, but time-wise, I just don't have it. I've pretty much filled up my schedule to the brink, and the last thing I want to do is take people on board to coach and then let them down. Yeah. Because I can't offer not so much the program, because the program's the easy part. Yes. It's the personal support that I think is, as most good coaches know, is up there as the thing that you need to offer. Yeah. The personal support and understanding of that individual person.
If someone wanted to get a coach, where would you suggest they go? Or they wanted to get advice on FIFO training?
Oh, that's a really hard question because it's a massive hole in the industry.
Yeah, I think that we've just uncovered it.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge hole in the industry.
Look for the Perth Fitfam FIFO app coming out soon.
Yeah, that's right. I can't really answer that question. I'd say find a coach that knows you well enough to understand what you have at work and to work around that for you.
It's probably the best answer. Like you said, there's two lives. Whoever's your coach here, make sure that they know what you've got available and get them to write for you.
Because otherwise, if you're just following like a satellite program, you're going to get days where you've got air bike, or where you've got, I don't know, even box jump. You don't have that basic stuff there, and it'll be like, what can I do? And if you're someone that isn't a coach or doesn't have an understanding of similar mechanic style movements, then you're just going to have to wing it, and you're not going to get the results you want. Cool. So search for that person that understands you and is willing to I suppose, take your, I suppose, own individual circumstances into their program for you. Like, it's something that's really hard to do. And I think, yeah, like we said, it's a big niche that I think needs to be open. Like,
I think so. I think we've just uncovered it. If we haven't done anything, we've done that in this podcast.
Yeah, we've talked a lot of random stuff as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. That's okay.
Have we talked enough about FIFO? Yeah, we have.
I think so. Is there anything else? Is there any gaping thing? Because I don't know FIFO, so is there anything gaping that I need to know about FIFO?
Yeah, so I personally think that the way that the mental health side of it is managed is not right.
Okay.
Yeah. The people that give the speeches about the mental health and things aren't always the best examples themselves. Okay. They're usually the safety department at work, which usually comes from ex-mining anyway. Sure. So they don't usually have a good understanding of, healthy body, healthy mind. Okay. So they're just like giving you this advice, if you're feeling bad, speak up. That's all it's usually said. Sure. So I think there needs to be people there that have an understanding of the benefits of training versus mental health. Like, I think that would play a bigger part in helping a lot of these guys out, and letting them know, like, you don't have to be a macho miner. You can, you can still work out and look after your body and do this job. Yeah. Like, I think that all the time, but hey, who am I? I'm just one of the workers, right?
Mate, you fit at 30. That's it. That's it. I love it. All right, Finn, that's awesome, man.
All good.
Thank you so much, dude. You're going to be at Games Day this weekend.
Yeah. Flew back last night. See how we go.
Oh, I'm going to be there all weekend. So this one will be out maybe just after, maybe just before. But Finley Johnson, thanks for being on, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was good.